Hi, I'm Rick DeJohnette, and this is solo number 10 from Rick Latham's Advanced Funk Studies book. And this is the last solo in the book. It's a lot different than the others. It's got that halftime funk feel, reminiscent of lots and lots of drummers. J.R. Robinson, if you ever check him out, he does a lot of that kind of stuff. All the drummers are here pretty much in this solo. Steve Gadd is famous for doing a lot of these paradiddle things. That kind of stuff. He does that on lots and lots of records from the 80s. So this solo is definitely worth working on at several tempos. I was doing it there at the tempo of half note equals 72, which is the quarter note equals 144. So you need to subdivide that to, get some good practice in on it. You can also do it with the 16th. If you do that, it sounds like this. That's pretty extreme, but that's every note subdivided. In computer terms or sequencing terms, that's called quantized. Everything is right to the 16th. And like I've said in all these solos, the evenness is so important to your playing. It doesn't need to be like a machine, but you just need to be able to play things even. And when you're doing a linear kind of solo, that's really important. This solo is almost non-linear. So you have things that line up, in other words. So the hi-hat's generally doing this kind of motion. So that's the shaft tip motion. The shaft being this part of the stick, and the tip obviously is the tip of the stick. And what you do is you move your wrist like this. There's no shoulder movement at all. You don't want to do that. It's not the Muller technique. So if you start doing too much movement, it's going to slow you down. And sometimes these tempos can be really fast. So you've got to be really loose and let that stick bounce. And again, it's not this kind of pick thing. It's not that either. It's a wrist kind of motion. All right, so that goes through the whole thing, and that's the kind of feel you want to keep throughout. Now, in solo number 9, I showed you some bass drum pivot stuff that's also important for this solo. A good exercise to do at the tempo that we were at is this. And it's really, really important to get that even. It's very, very difficult. It might seem easy, but once you sit down and try it, it's not. And again, you need to record yourself doing these things so you can hear if it's not even. I've done that and fixed it, okay? So that's what you need to do. At a young age, I was working every day on these kinds of things and recording myself and just hearing the problems and fixing them. So that's what you need to do. Now, this solo also has some tom things between the bass drum and the toms. All right, so that's a very common thing that lots of drummers do. If you go to page 121 in my book, those of you who have it, and I'll do that now, you'll see some hand-foot exercises. And these are what I practice to work on this kind of thing. So if we put the metronome on, So that kind of exercise is tremendous for developing those kinds of fills. What you also want to do is get the hi-hat doing something. So you can just do straight quarter notes. I like to play it in a halftime feel though, so what I might do is this. Let's try that. That's tough, those last two bars. All right, so that's how I practice that stuff, and I try to get it as even as possible. And all kinds of hi-hat patterns are important to do. So that's the kind of stuff, and if you can do that, then these kinds of fills are no problem whatsoever. So that's going to be the last of the solos for the Latham book, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of them together in one video, and I'll show you both views. I'll show you the distant view, is what I call it, where you can see my face, and then I'll show you the side view, where normally you can't see me when I'm talking, and you'll be able to see that view as well. And I'll do that with every single solo. It'll be probably a, I don't know, 25-minute video, because the solos are short. There won't be any talking. So if you want to see them all in a row, I'll do that for you. So thanks so much for watching this series. There'll be many more series on many more books. But this is one of the great books to work on. I recommend everybody should have it and work on it. It's so much fun, and it's so important to playing gigs and grooves, and it's not that difficult as well. It's accessible to even an intermediate drummer if you do the solos slowly. So take care and stay safe.